Assalamu alaikum, adab, and a very good evening to you all. You're watching Community Time on Noor TV with Noorin. Today, as usual, we have a guest with me in the studios. My guest today has an academic background of a degree in logistics from Aston University in 2002. As a profession, he is a developer manager for a third sector organisation, one of the country's youngest Justice of Peace, a key Labour Party activist in Birmingham, a national coordinator for Young Muslim Friends of Labour, and holds a number of other posts in the voluntary sector. He is Raja Waseem Zaffar. A very good evening to you.
Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum salam. First of all, I'd just like to thank you for coming on to the show.
Pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Now, Waseem, you're involved in a lot of activities.
Indeed.
And the one that we're going to talk about, the certain role within the private hire sector. How and why did you get involved, and what is your role within this private sector?
I think what you're referring to is the private hire
sector
here in Birmingham. As you're aware, and I'm sure your audience is also aware, there's over 5,300 private hire drivers here in Birmingham. It's a large proportion of drivers, and it's a significant trade here in Birmingham, as in other major cities across the UK. I think my role is I've been facilitating discussions between stakeholders and statutory agencies and the private hire community, and I've done this mainly through Unite the Union, as it's called now. It used to be called TNG and Amicus, and they've combined together to become Unite, the trade union. I think 4 or 5 years ago now, a number of individuals who had a private hire background approached the local Member of Parliament for Birmingham Perry-Barr, who's Khalid Mahmood, and had discussions about how they felt they were being treated by Birmingham City Council, and in particular the licensing authority, as well as other agencies. At that particular time, Khalid advised them and negotiated some terms with the trade union to get involved and support the private hire community here in Birmingham. I think as time developed, the need for support grew, and a couple of years ago Khalid was again approached by private hire drivers across Birmingham, and that's when I was in a way asked to support and really facilitate the rise in the branch itself. Since then I've been involved. We had a significant movement last year when there were 6 recommendations made by Birmingham City Council. We did some live programs on Noor TV at that particular time again, and I think after the organisation work that was done by the Unite team, we did pretty well with getting 5 of the 6 recommendations overturned the way we wanted them to. Now again there's this big issue following the tragic murder of Mohammed Arshad, who's a Birmingham private hire driver who is tragically murdered, and I'd like to take the opportunity on live television to urge anybody who's got any information whatsoever regarding the tragic incident and how these dreadful people took Arshad's life to contact West Mercia Police, who are leading the investigation, but they can also contact Crime Stoppers or any local police station. It's important for everybody that those people behind Arshad's murder are convicted, and we as the private hire community will not rest until that happens. So again, following that tragic murder, there's been huge amount of wounds opened up by private hire drivers. We've had a series of meetings with the police, who we felt were originally the private hire community has been neglected by the police, in particular around some of the safety issues for drivers. So I've said this before and I'll say it again. I think there's not a private hire driver in Birmingham who isn't verbally or physically assaulted every week, every month, and incidents are very common against private hire drivers. We had a series of meetings with the police. One particular meeting, which the first one was a couple of weeks ago, that was requested by myself and my colleagues at the union, facilitated by the licensing authority, where we went on for I think about an hour having discussions with the police, and in the end the police just put their hands up, and these were senior police officers from West Midlands Police, put their hands up and apologised, and I think the apology in itself and the acceptance that they hadn't treated us the way they should have is a major achievement, and they apologised for. I'm going to let you come back in.
No, that's fine.
There was the apology was on the background of 2 things. One was the inconsistent approach of West Midlands Police towards the private hire drivers in Birmingham, and secondly for the loss of confidence of the driver community towards the police, because as I mentioned earlier, the amount of crime committed against drivers is significant, but the amount of the crime that is actually reported is virtually non-existent. Drivers are not willing to report crime to the police because they haven't got the confidence in the systems and procedures and protocols that the police follow when they deal with private hire drivers.
Now, you said that they don't have, keeping to the issue here, now you said that they don't have the confidence. Why don't they have the confidence? Where is the gap?
I think from speaking to drivers, we've had numerous meetings with drivers. There was a meeting earlier on this week that was organised by Councillor Salma Yaqub, a public meeting in the council chamber, and it was a really, really positive but heated discussion. You had drivers sitting there, and there was a panel consisting of myself, Councillor Salma Yaqub, two West Midlands police officers, and the head of licensing, Pete Barrow. And it was, you know, the drivers really made their feelings known. You know, there's issues that if for instance, a private hire driver goes to report a crime against them in one particular area of the city, they get treated perfectly well. The police take the details down, give them a crime reference number, and investigate the matter. If the same sort of incident occurs in a different part of the city, again, the private hire driver goes to the police station and he or she is told that it's not a criminal matter, it's actually a civil matter. So there's concerns of how, what the protocol and what the procedures are for the police themselves, and are they fully aware of how to deal with the West Midlands Police? And I think we're going to come on later about what we're actually going to, how we're going to support the police on that. Then there is no safety. I was having discussions earlier on today with some people from the union, and private hire drivers have, they've got no CCTV in vehicles, they've got no protection screens, they've got no panic buttons, they've got absolutely no protection whatsoever, and that's a huge concern to us. If you've got a 7-seater vehicle, you're licensed to carry 6 passengers, so you can have 6 passengers in your vehicle, right? One of them sat alongside you, the other 5 sat behind you, right? And you're on your own. You're a single person on your own, driving. You work on all sorts of hours. It could be unsociable hours. You could be driving around with 6 people in your car at 4 o'clock in the morning with not many other people around, driving down a country lane. So you are at risk. And there's all sorts of issues raised by drivers, and I don't see there being one-point solution. I think the good things happening here is we've opened up a debate. We've opened up something that should have happened, a debate that should have took place years and years ago. And what this will do is hopefully some positive actions will be implemented. One of the concerns I have is there's new drivers coming into the trade, and they're not given any health and safety training before they go out there. There is a seminar facilitated by the council when a driver is issued that, but is that seminar enough to put a driver on the streets of Birmingham, right, to go out there and carry passengers? I don't think that we need to educate, train our drivers to be streetwise. And my colleague from the union, the chair of the branch, Jamshed Khan, had led some very serious discussions this morning with union officials. The union, Unite the Union, is looking to support private hire drivers in a number of ways. We're working very closely with West Midlands Police. We're working very closely with the licensing authorities and the Learning and Skills Council, who from the government are investing millions and millions of taxpayers' money into the private hire and the taxi sector altogether, right, to train drivers. Now we have concerns about how that training is going about, what that training is itself. So we're having discussions with the Learning and Skills Council on how they implement the training across Birmingham.
Well, you've said that the health and safety issues, you talked about not having that training in place. But